expansion over here at the southwest. Not sure if he's going to be able to jump, not jump, but what am I trying to say? Cross the high ground, come up that ramp and get into the main base. It looks like HoeJJa, however, has done exactly that. He has two Ultralisks and a Lurker all the way up into the high ground over at the northwest expansion that Leta is trying to establish. A tank coming out, but it is already surrounded by that Ultralisk and Lurker. Meanwhile, Leta has still most of that huge tank group over in the natural expansion at the southwest. And getting flanked on both sides. He's got a couple of tanks on the high ground, but huge groups of Zerglings and Ultralisks coming in through the Nidus canals, and they are going to be able to surround all of these tanks. All of the tanks going down for Leta, so Leta in a little bit of trouble right now by losing all of those tanks. He still does have a ton of science vessels in the area that none of them got taken out, and they were able to put down a lot of irradiates on clumped groups of Zerg units. So a lot of Zerg units being damaged from that irradiate splash damage, not to mention the irradiations themselves, all on Ultralisks. So Leta is able to take out a base and then do a lot of damage to the army before losing his own giant group of siege tanks. So I think he might have gotten the better of that just a little bit. It would have been nice if he had been able to stay, to make his way all the way up the ramp and do a little bit of damage to the economy over at that southwest base. But just too many reinforcements coming in through the Nidus canals. Nidus canals are just such a great boon to the late game Zerg army. When you're trying to expand everywhere, it makes it so much easier for them to move around the map if they can just, you know, instantly teleport wherever they want. Well, from base to base, wherever they want. Meanwhile, it looks like another attack coming in towards the original national expansion from HoeJJa, but just paltry groups of Scourge trying to take down those science vessels, and Leta doing a nice job of keeping his medic marines nearby to prevent too much damage. Meanwhile, a single Ultralisk and a couple Zerg coming in to do a little bit of harassment at this third base over in the, what am I going to call that, 11 o'clock position. But that is easily cleared up by the medic marine forces, and pretty minimal losses from Leta. So Leta doing a good job of defending his own bases, but he needs to go in and do another attack of his own. Excuse me, I gotta take a sip of water here. This is a lot of talking. Alright, sorry about that. It looks like maybe that is full upgrades for those ground Zerg units. Once again, apologize for the quality of these videos, not quite. I'm still having to get them from different sources. My main Team Liquid torrent sources have not been what they have been in the past. So, actually downloading most of these off of YouTube, which just generally makes bad quality videos. Anyways, ooh, big group of Scourge coming in, but only killing off one of those science vessels. Oh, but that is a huge plague. That plague hits every single one of those science vessels. So those science vessels in a lot of danger right now. A group of Zerglings chasing down the medic marines that were hanging out under those science vessels. Not able to do all that much damage, but you know, Leta is still being forced to retreat, and he, you know, it would probably be a good idea to just move over into his main base. There are probably a lot of idle SCVs because that main base is certainly mined out by now. So unless he's already transferred them, maybe he's already transferred them. But anyways, he should go and find some SCVs and get those science vessels repaired, because he's just begging for a hero mutilist to come out and kill them 3 at a time with that splash damage. Ooh, and there is a potential candidate for that hero mutilist that I'm talking about just now. Once you get a plague on a huge group of science vessels like that, you generally want to build a mutilist so that it can do some splash damage, and, you know, like I'm saying, kill 3 of those science vessels at a time. Anyways, still, both players split evenly in terms of bases, and it is still quite a close game. You know, Leta is gonna, I think he's still a little bit in the lead just because he has been able to do a little bit of economic damage here and there to HoeJJa, but he's also lost a lot of army in terms of, in the meantime. He's lost that huge group of siege tanks. He has another one waiting in the wings, and Why has he lifted his command center? I don't know. That was probably just an accident by him. Anyways, that big group of Zerglings combined with Darkswarm is coming in and trying to attack this base here up in the northwest position from Leta. He's having to lift the command center and the natural expansion over there. That's why he lifted it, is because he was trying to build a comsat station and just misclicked. Anyways, big group of Scourge being killed off, and that base is well defended just because there are about a dozen tanks sitting on the high ground. So as soon as any forces come into that natural expansion, like they were doing, they're instantly getting shelled by about a dozen tanks, which will just eat up a group of Zerglings, not gonna lie. Anyways, it looks like Leta finally has another small army that he can try to do a little bit of counterattacking with, because so far, since his attack on the southwest base, he has not been able to do anything offensively. He has just been defending his own bases. One science vessel going down, a plague missing. That was a pretty bad miss there from that defiler. And medic marines being able to clear out all of the Zerglings in the area. But really, Zerglings are so cheap, he can just keep building them and keep building them for a very long time. I'm surprised he hasn't transitioned to even more Ultralisk heavy armies. I guess because there's so many tanks on the field, he doesn't want to... it's more cost effective if he can just let the Zerglings do it. But that huge group of science vessels is hanging out, and those two Mutalisks, which ought to be the heroes of this game, are in fact not anything. They are just hanging out, taking a little coffee break, chatting about their mothers, which is the Overmind. The Overmind is all of the Mutalisks' mothers, which makes it easy on Mother's Day for the Zerg. Everybody gets the Overmind the same card, which is killing a dozen Terrans. Anyways, back onto this game. Middle of the map, we have Leta finally pushing out, and those big group of Scourge coming in, but only killing one science vessel for like 4 Scourge that hit it, I think. Still, I think HoeJJa has completely forgotten about those Mutalisks that he has. A couple more Scourge coming in and getting some kills on those science vessels. Coming in with a counterattack over at the natural expansion, which is doing a little bit of damage, but honestly it doesn't matter all that much because that natural expansion is mined out. The critical bases are all in the northwest for Leta, and then the southwest for HoeJJa. Actually, it looks like HoeJJa may have gotten another expansion over in the 2 o'clock position, just outside of Leta's original main base. But Leta now has a huge group of tanks. He has set up a siege line just outside of that natural expansion in the southwest, and he's going to be able to likely push all the way in this time up the ramp into that main base in the southwest. A couple of reinforcement tanks getting intercepted by Ultralisks, but still this huge army is in the middle of the southern part of the map, and it is free to go wherever it wants. It looks like he is choosing to go for this new base here over at the 5 o'clock position from HoeJJa. So Leta, if he's able to take out this base, this is a fresh base, so HoeJJa really needs to keep this alive if he wants to keep this Ultralisks and Defiler army up and running. He is going in for a counterattack at those 2 critical bases that I was talking about over in the northwest. Leta is struggling to defend against them, but he still does have a large group of troops up on that ridge, siege tanks, I mean, and he's doing a nice job there. A nice little bit of micro to bring those SCVs on the line to block those Ultralisks from coming up the ramp, and so all of those low ground Ultralisks are just being shelled by the high ground siege tanks, and Leta able to defend. Also, he has been able to take out that base at the 5 o'clock position, so Leta in a great position right now, killing off one base and defending his own, and meanwhile he's pushing in towards that southwest main starting position, sieging up all of those tanks. Another dozen tanks coming in, just a couple of Ultralisks there to defend right now. I'm sure reinforcements are coming via the Nidus Canal, but those dark swarms from the Defiler are not going to last forever, and once those go away, Leta's going to be able to push up that ramp, I think. A few of those tanks finally getting killed off by some Zerglings in the area, but that base that I was talking about over in the 1 o'clock position, or 2 o'clock, I don't know what I call that, I think 2 o'clock, that HoeJJa has just set up is being attacked by a small group of Medica Marines, and that those Medica Marines are doing huge damage, and it looks like they are going to be able to take out that that expansion over in the 2 o'clock position. So HoeJJa losing 2 expansions very quickly, and finally GG's, because Leta has finally taken that economic lead completely, and HoeJJa just doesn't have anything left. So anyways, very solid, determined play there by Leta to keep his team, and that was awesome. Gets the little crown, because I guess that was his, I don't know, 10th win of the season. So awesome work. Anyways, we're going to move on to an ace match, so we will see you there.